Am I expecting a Carter 2 or a Carter 3? Not really. You know, Prime Wayne, even the mixtape days, is always really impressive. Though he has aged, I do expect a bit of a fall from grace. It happens with most of our faves, but even with his, I should not put that on the floor. That's mad disrespectful. I'm sorry, Baby Wayne. Yeah, the last project, Lil Wayne, Carter 5, a lot of people were mixed on it. I, for one, really enjoyed it. Like I said, Wayne is one of my faves of all time. Still got a lot of songs that I enjoyed off of it. And regardless of how anyone might feel about Wayne, I just hear too much of him in the current landscape for me to discard him wholeheartedly. Despite the fact that some people think that he is releasing mid right now. Me personally, I hear too much of him in the current landscape for me to just like not be excited whenever he puts something new out. So here we are with Funeral. Lil Wayne's newest album. I don't really have anything else to say. I'ma head in. Where's the album? Fuck going on, fam? So after 35 to 40 minutes of trying to get the album, Wayne decided I'm gonna release it at 3 a.m. instead of 12. But you know me, I'm resourceful, so I found a way to get it. Unfortunately, I have none of the names of the features that may be on this album, so I'm just going in dry and raw. Great! Homies over in China sent it to me. RIP to everyone whose lives were lost from Corona. Let's try it again. Let's head in. Track number 1 is titled Funeral. It's quite a service. Who died?
I bustin' with that Uzi though.
In the church?
The Reverend talk we born on.
Why?
Gotta die to see who you know. Damn, welcome to the funeral.
At this stage in my life, this line hits a little deeper.
Life is a movie and it's in theaters. Some of y'all's already went to cable. Get shot from afar, you can get a facial. Never hit a baby crib of cradles and tomatoes on your head and split tomatoes.
Alright, that was pretty disrespectful for the intro. We got Lil Wayne popping in on somebody's funeral, disrespecting the entire ceremony, the entire service. And this could be how some people's funerals are, you know. Some people would revel in the fact that you died, and you would never know. This, I believe, is how some people show up to some people's last moments. Or it might just be a op and, you know, you got him out the way. Next track is Mahogany. I'm assuming Mahogany will be the color of the casket.
Do the dashboard, gas to the floor.
I was wrong.
Now who them stands for? I pop dance for muscle relaxation.
Sorry, Wayne, but we can't do that anymore, alright? I know you out of touch, but we can't do that anymore, okay? I can't co-sign you in the Zans and the lean and anything else that you do. I just can't co-sign it.
No. Ride with it, I hope the Reaper don't take me out. I'm too eager to wait it out. Stuck the heat and stayed my pretty vampire plug with the fucking rabbis. No caps,
yeah.
Judge gave me black boys.
Wow. Definitely a southern influenced track. R.I.P. Screw. I like this track. I think Wayne's vocal inflections have really distracted us from the fact that recently he hasn't been able to make a really great or solid hook to save his life, and I think that's great. At least you got one or the other. This track is cool. I think it goes on for a little bit too long, but it's still solid. I think the flows are nice. The vocal sample in the background I think is a nice addition. Slowing down to the beat I think was a nice addition. But overall, I think it's pretty standard Wayne track. Track number 3 is Mamma Mia.
I'm about to find a good plumber. Y'all the niggas is some foot soldiers. I'm a foot fuck. I'm a wizard with the motherfucker like I'm with the hog wash. Cut the hog.
I knew he was going there. I knew he was gonna do it.
Any model when that lace slime, that plate mine. Put it up like Trayvon. No FaceTime on FaceTime.
No, we're not doing that.
She breastfeed your child while I do it. Stupid.
That's not.
Yo, baby mama, she breastfeed your child while I do it. I on my Gucci, that's not an exclusive designer. Excuse me, Messiah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I love that track. I think the way Wayne tackles it is everything I love about Wayne is captured in this track. I think the strange trap instrumentation is a really nice foundation. Wayne's vocal inflections, again, one of the highlights of him as an artist. One of the main things that I love about him the most is just how he's able to go from one pocket to the next effortlessly, change his vocal inflection and his cadence effortlessly, his flow, and more than that, his punchlines are funny, they're entertaining, they're sometimes witty, sometimes disgusting, and sometimes telling. I don't know what you got going on at home, Wayne, but you can't do that with a kid in the room. But that drop sounds like a really fast insect just flying by your ear every time I hear it, and it's really great. It really fits for this track. It sounds so demented and strange and off the cuff, and Wayne's subject matter is really unpredictable. So I guess they kind of fit. Track number 4, I Do It.
Yeah.
Big Sean?
They say all facts but don't prove shit.
Not gonna lie, this is a hook that I feel like Drake would do a lot better. Just me, maybe not. Not hating, maybe I am.
All these
Lil
birds
Baby?
ain't happy, we cool. Sleep on the futon. Now I'm on now, big house fuel. Every day I live my life like a remix. I do it.
They say all facts but
Alright.
don't prove
That grew on me pretty quick. You see Wayne in the back crooning? It's great.
Money from 2002 that I ain't seen since 2002. Me shunning break
Cool.
my nigga, we bullet.
Oh, that one's gotta hurt. That one's gotta hurt. I think Big Sean, you know, he hit me. You kind of gotta let his feature play out. I still think Drake would have performed a little bit better, though I do think Lil Baby's, the transition into Lil Baby, I think is smooth. I don't know if Drake would have been able to handle that transition or do it as well, so I'm not 100% sure. I do like the way that Wayne supports his voice with the ad-libs in the background. I did hear those. Those do sound really nice. I've been into Lil Baby more recently as well. I've kind of started to see his appeal. Kind of helped this track flow. I don't really think he added much in the way of any kind of punchlines or any kind of witty things to say other than his Deion Sanders Atlanta line. I thought that was pretty okay. But I think he helps the track flow without, you know, making it boring. It's more like a sound effect than a rapper, but just like one that goes on for a really long time. Track number 5 is Dreams.
And it was just a dream. I live an American dream. Following everything.
That's kind of hard. That's kind of hard, you know. It's so tragic in the beginning. Like I had a dream that I basically wasn't gonna be shit, and then I woke up. It's the way he's waking up was like, oh my god, that was horrible. That was horrifying. I wake up from a nightmare. I look around, and then I just be like, I'm still alive, huh? Take a sip of water and put my head right back in the pillow.
It's been like the perfect revolver, yeah. I dreamt I died and went to heaven and came.
This is taking from something. I don't know what it's from.
I've been sipping all this lean, that's why my eyes go see all these fucking reasons.
Yeah, I think that track is a little unnecessarily loud, a little too much going on for no reason. I do get the idea here, you know, the whole I'm afraid of failure. Basically, I'm so far away or so far removed from being a failure, from being nothing, that it would have to be in a dream for it to ever be attached to me. I think the way that he puts it in the song is cool, but I just think the song itself is just a little too abrasive. Nothing about it is dreamy other than maybe like the hook for a couple moments, but then it gets right back to this loud, fast-paced atmosphere, and I think that's cool just to show that now I'm awake, now I'm not. But I don't think it does much for Wayne or really emphasizing his strengths like that. You know, I could take or leave this track. Not to forget, with the vocal inflection that he had when he woke up, just how much he influenced people like a Kendrick, like a Tory Lanez. I hear a lot in his voice. He says, all I see is a bunch of Wheezies. It's like, yeah, you seeing a bunch of clones, you seeing a bunch of people that you inspired. I'm glad that he's aware of that and acknowledges it. But you are straight bullshitting me if you think I believe for 1 second you didn't know who TDE was. Track number 6 is Stop Playing With Me.
You got lost on me like Bin Laden. I know that time changed. I don't think I changed.
Can you stop playing with me? This track is kind of ass. Let's just take this track and throw it in the garbage. Track number 7 is Clap For Him.
Ass nigga, South shaker. Girl, take that cash from the ball players. Yeah,
I see you in it.
Hit it like a bullet hole, leave that pussy swole. You looking like a pot of gold on the South shaker. She just got a fake ass to be soft later. Don't take that cash from me head like a bobblehead. Bobble de bobble. Then she gobbling. Wear a hair like the Honda. A birthday super pajamas. I'm only here to my yonder.
Yeah, I like that he's taken from like the 2000s, you know, with music that we've already heard, kind of remixing it, kind of doing his own rendition, and then adding a little bit more to it with the beat transition. I like it. You know, it could be a little bit better, a little bit more creative, but you know, I'm gonna use this track is gonna be used for stuff later, so I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. And it's called Clap For Him. What we clapping? Cheeks. Track number 8 is Bing James.
Big crown on the nigga Bing James. Bust down glowing the nigga Bling James.
He's dark ass.
Sipping ice cream, tripping like some Visins. Big crown on the nigga Bing James. Weapons in the stash.
Is that J-Rock? This is a perfect track for J-Rock. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Right now, I love this track. Tomorrow, the next day, by like Sunday or Monday, I'm probably gonna hate it. I could see how this track could just be completely obnoxious and just unnecessarily bitter and tart with the 808s and there being like no real groove or rhythm. Obviously there's a rhythm to it, but the rhythm isn't one that you'd want to like hop on. It's one that is kind of grating in a way. especially with the way that Wayne is delivering his verse and how the hook, I guess, comes out. It's really not meant for you to, you know. I do think the ad-libs from Lil Wayne during J-Rock's part kind of are a little overbearing, a little too much. You know, it kind of take away from J-Rock's performance a bit. J-Rock's performance already wasn't like the greatest, but it was decent enough, and it would have been more decent without Wayne's ad-libs in the back kind of interrupting him. But yeah, I like this. I like this track. I like the build-up from the hook. So yeah, I don't mind it like that. I think it's pretty good. Track number 9 is Not Me.
Watch me, no touchy. Bitch, I'm rolling like my nigga on the grass seat. Watch me, no touchy. Bitch, I'm rolling.
Did he know? He didn't say no Itachi, because that would just be. He would be like, he'd be goated at that point, but he didn't say that. There's no way he said that.
Come and say it to my dick face. Oh, who the fuck won't walk? No one's
No.
2 cups, no
The fuck? It's kind of like he got the juice, basically. You could have done that whole track could have just been one line saying, I got the juice, and we wouldn't need to hear that. We wouldn't need to hear that. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, though. I mean, the track isn't anything to write home about. It's nothing really special. You know, I'm getting, you know, kind of over the whole trap thing at this point, Wayne. You know, we know what you can do. Can we do something new now, or are we just gonna keep reiterating points that we've already made in the past? You know, hopefully it's gonna get better. But with 24 tracks, I think you really are overloading this thing, and we could have ended, you know, probably at the next track or a couple tracks from now. But no, we got 14 more bitches to go, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to handle the rest of this. No, I'm not saying pause. Track number 10 is Trust Nobody, and it's funny that comes after the track where he is essentially, you know, walking around thinking that nobody's gonna try to do him. I don't trust Wayne in a guitar. I really don't.
I don't trust nobody.
I had no idea that was coming. Stop you. Delete the comment. I'm gonna tell you who that sounds like, and you're not gonna like my answer. And I'm gonna be really pissed off if I'm right.
She bite her tongue when she tell me that pussy for me. I lost count of my mistakes.
No way. I hope I'm not right. I really hope I'm not right. I really hope I'm not right. I'm fucking right. It's Adam Levine. It's Adam fucking Levine. It's because of people like Wayne that these people just keep getting into the culture. Like, you letting him in. He's trash. In, and then the deeper and deeper you go, the less and less there is to find. Constantly digging, constantly mining. You found diamond near the top. When you started digging, you found diamond. You still kept going for no reason. Next track is Know You Know?
Your blood and them Dracula. Anytime forward and them Dracula. And on the egg system. Pocket full of dead people.
Hey man, I tell you, I love 2 Chainz.
Look crazy, I don't want to change you. If you a car, I will candy paint you.
Look crazy, I don't want to change you a car. We not doing that, man. We not doing the tire car bars. I gotta let you get away with like so many cars in my garage off that DJ Khaled track. With work for it with Big Sean and Gucci Mane, you know, 4 years ago. I'm not letting you get away with it again.
I ain't not a thief, but she's still a shoe, but she's still a hoe. Don't believe it, that's video. That ain't your hoe, that was your hoe. She jumping when she been a hoe.
Decent. I'd play it again. The piano usually gets me with tracks like these. It's a little dark, it's a little ominous. So I like that. 2 Chainz feature was all right. Nothing really else to say. I don't know if this is like negative on them, insinuating that they all fuck around with the same women. Track number 12 is Wild Dogs.
Bitch, I'm a dog, I turn to a werewolf. I Siri fucking Alexa. I should ride me. The diamonds is covered like eczema. Me and my dog.
Know what I'm saying? I don't need to say it, you know. Hey, where that coronavirus at, man? I'm ready. Track number 13 is Harden. It's funny because the track before that, it was Westbrook. I better not get a Kobe Bryant track. I like these soul tracks in the back, the soul samples. Give it to me.
I tell her it's cold, I'm already freezing. My heart ain't even beating. Just talk to the repeat, put me on speed. Drive you crazy, I know I've been swerving. I know you've been nervous, I know I've been sending it to a burden. I'm really sorry, I know I don't fake first. You know that love don't come with insurance. I blame the jurors.
This man said, you know that love don't come with insurance. This is a risk, okay? Don't say I didn't warn you. Blocking me from interacting with you because I fucked up, I ruined it. Relationship track. Not corny though, but you know, I like the metaphor. You blocking me, James Harden. It's cool. More soul samples though, Wayne. Track number 15 is Sights and Silencers. Don't get me wrong, I like The Dream, but We not gonna lie to ourselves, okay? I'm not wet. Yeah, I don't think that was Dream's strongest performance, man. I think you might need to go back to the drawing board with that one, man. I think you might need to have a dream and dream of another song. Track number 16 is Ball Hard.
David Yerman, every summer, Pee Wee Herman, Tina flipping chickens. I feel like a black colonel, black China, black mamba, baby mama, lady God.
No! Kobe's really gone.
Adidas niggas call me Hustle Westbrook, sell double dose season.
He's flowing.
David Yerman,
And then he stops immediately. I mean, this track is really just mentioning, throwing names out there. Like, this is one of the most pointless Wayne songs I think I've ever heard. Like, I get it. Everybody that he mentioned is kind of balling or kind of respected in their lane and stuff like that. But Jesus Christ. Like, if I've never heard a track that said so much but said nothing at the same time. Track is honestly trash now because it reminded me of Kobe. Like, why would you do that? Track number 17 is Bastard, Satan's Kid. Wow.
My closet was the fizz, taking baby pics. Daddy used to look at me like, who the kid like this kid? I know the TV sound like Genasis, I know the way it turned. Got
You done?
It has been quite a job. My heart and watch your heart burn. Crossing me is like watching a cross burn.
Yeah, like it's kind of ironic, this track, because I think his flow is very, you know, it seems like there's a lot of friction. There's like very little space between him and the actual instrumental itself. The actual instrumental itself sounds kind of watery, kind of echoey, kind of aquatic in a way. Meanwhile, his flow and his voice it feels like so close to the beat in the instrumental that it's like rubbing together, almost starting like a flame or a fire. It's funny also because the track is Satan's Kid, but in the beginning he's talking about how he's a bastard pretty much because his father really didn't want anything to do with him, didn't treat his mother well. I do think this track works to, you know, Wayne's advantage. I think there are some very small sparses in the song where he's like kind of losing pace of himself or where he wants to, what pocket he's in, because he kind of trickles off beat very slightly every now and again. Yeah, it's not a bad track. I like the drops here. They're really loud, almost like he's dropping atomic bombs in the ocean from his submarine. It all sounds kind of washed out at a certain point. Track number 18 is Get Out of My Head. We got an XXXTENTACION.
In my head, running around, hearts playing, breaking parts. On bananas in my head, shooting cannons in my head, hitting targets in my head, playing in my head, white noises sounding red.
Not only does this not make up for the school shooter track you did on Bad Vibes Forever, but damn, man. Like, I mean, at least I could take this track a little bit more serious than I took the track School Shooter off Bad Vibes Forever. But this track is still bad vibes. All these things that Wayne says is going on in his head, I think would be so much better if they were illustrated musically. But here we just get a very standard, ominous, kind of flatline beat that's accompanied by these really obnoxiously screamed vocals from XXXTENTACION, rest in peace. And Lil Wayne kind of supports with these kind of muted, like, oh, I'm in my head, I'm kind of intimidating. It just comes off really edgy at this point. We've heard music like this before. It's nothing. It's just really nothing, right? Like, this type of stuff is not intimidating. It's not off-putting or scary. It's just weird. Track number 19 is Piano Trap. I wonder if I look at this light long enough if I'll get blind. Like, if I'll blind myself. You know, I guess if this track was like 30 seconds to a minute, it probably wouldn't be that bad. The fact that it's like 3 to 4 is like a little... It gets monotonous really fast. Track number 20 is Line 'Em Up.
All this cocaine got me acting white. You can ask Jada Pinkett, nigga, I'm a legend. You can ask T to whip you till you know the serial number by heart. Easy, 223's text, semi-automatic reflex. Line 'em up. Line 'em up.
Hook game weak, man. Yeah, the vocal sample in the back is kind of, I don't know, racist? No, not really. It's just, it's cool. I like that track, you know? It's got some momentum to it. Wayne's hook game is kind of weak, but, you know, I'll listen to the track again. Track number 21 is Darkside.
You look like these niggas. Fuck it up in the war. And I'm a fall about to come to yours looking for a war. I am nothing more. One time. Y'all little niggas, small time.
It's definitely one of those tracks that if he were to ask me if it's fire, I'd probably say yes to his face. But behind his back, track number 22 is Nevermind. It might not be love, lust, or drugs, but it definitely ain't good. 2 packs. 2 packs of
Ass.
23 is T.O.
Marine on this dick trampoline. I spit these facts, they call me fax machine. And glorious, gun on big pun in my clip on notorious. Bitch, I'm the man.
Oh, that was a good line. What is that sampling?
Like I'm in the Netherlands.
I don't know. I love how digital this track sounds.
Walk around like in Yosemite. Extra clip, that's my amenities.
LT Genasis is cool on this track. So is Wayne. Nothing too special, you know what I mean? But it's listenable. That's how I feel about a lot of this album. It's not that great, but it's palatable. It's listenable. And the final track on this album is track number 24 with Wayne's World.
With my Mexican game banging heavily. Throw up your salad, me that I don't recommend. I tried to show.
So that was Lil Wayne with The Funeral. And overview of the album so far is, I think I was really lenient with the Carter 5 when it came out. I really was. I don't know why I have the armrest up and then I still use it, but whatever. I had not really doubts about this album, but I definitely could understand the Carter 5 because it was filled with music that was a little dated. Wayne had a lot of trouble getting it out. If it had came out the time that it was supposed to, give or take a couple of tracks that were on the album at that time, I think it still would have been a decent album for Wayne around that time. Definitely, in my opinion, would have done about average for his discography at that time, but I think it got so much more positive reception just because we knew the hold up, we knew how long it took to get here, we knew the hurdle that it took, and we were, like I said, I was excusing of a lot of the dated material on there just because I knew how long it took him to get it out. And I guess going to The Funeral, I was kind of thinking that he either was working on this album alongside the, while he was waiting for the Carter 5 to come out. And that made me think that maybe he's been collecting all of his frustrations, all the material, everything that he'd been feeling up until this point, and ready to put it out on an album, ready to kind of dead his old self. That's why I was thinking that The Funeral was kind of going to be like this death of Wayne and, introduction of his new self. Of course, that was a little, I guess, too hopeful for me to think. His formula doesn't really need to be changed because he's still going to attract an audience regardless. I do think one of my biggest complaints about this record is the length. It does not need to be 24 tracks long. I think half of these tracks could easily be removed and we could have a decent record. Wouldn't be a perfect record, wouldn't be an amazing record, but it would definitely be a lot more listenable than 24 rehashes of the same idea, because subject matter content wise we're not getting that much varied material here. I think the furthest that this album goes when it comes to giving us information about Wayne personally is on the track Bastard, on the track where he's talking about pulling up to someone's funeral. We get a couple other tracks that peer off into different material, like the edgiest track I think I've ever heard Wayne make with something Voices in My Head. I know that's not the track name. And then we got another track here where he's talking about his relationship issues. The rest of the album is pretty much comprised into Wayne talking about his clones to some degree, Wayne talking about how much he dominates, him deep throating bitches or women throating him. I don't remember. All in all, I could see somebody throwing the mid stamp on this album simply because it doesn't do much of anything to solidify Wayne at the placement that so many people have him at. And with the 5-year almost hiatus when it comes to releasing studio albums, and then we actually got the Carter 5 and there was mixed reception to that, then we're going to get this album, and I'm 100% confirmed that there's going to be mixed reception to this. There's no Drake feature, there's no Ross feature, there's no monumental moment on the record. All the tracks pretty much, there are high moments, but I don't think anything here is breaking Wayne into extremely new territory. Not territory that he's already stepped among and walked over already previous moments in his career. The twerking song I think will be played in a lot of places. Pretty sure that Wayne is gone as far as he can go when it comes to extending his voice and extending his artistic repertoire, his flows and everything. I think those are really nice, but I think using them in more creative ways could lend to a more creative album. Like artists do, they just don't know when to stop. They don't know when to call it a day. It could have easily been prevented, this fall from what could have been a decent album, at track number 9, 10. But at track number 10, I think, was the track with Levine. What the fuck? Like, I can picture Young Thug doing this album a lot better than Wayne. I don't know if that's because Wayne is older, Wayne's more seasoned, or if it's because Thug is more creative and doesn't burden himself with the task of having to write a ton of punchlines and he just feels the track out with his voice, as opposed to having to lay down a Hot 16. But yeah, I think I gave him the benefit of the doubt more because it was an older album. It was started earlier. This time around, it's more reminiscent of the current landscape, but it definitely takes no risks. And I think if you're not going to take any risks musically, like sonically, at the very least, your content needs to be somewhat varied if I'm still going to consider you one of the GOATs. Because I can't get 24 tracks of pretty much the same material and think I'm going to be satisfied with that. But that's how I'm feeling with this new Wayne funeral album. Definitely didn't get a new version. Definitely didn't get rid of the old Wayne. And that's pretty much it. You know, if you like Wayne, you love him, you love everything about him, you're probably gonna like this album a lot. But me, on the other hand, it's kind of hit or miss for me. I like a good portion of it, but then there's another portion that I could really do without. Thank y'all for watching. Let me know how you felt about it in the comment section down below. I'll see y'all next time. Let me know how you felt about it in the. I just said that, you idiot. And yeah, that's how I'm feeling. And I'm out. Peace.